What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Barbells and Trails podcast. Back with ourselves, me, Bret,
Yes, sir.
and Riley.
We're here.
We're here. We are here yet again. A little late, but it's fine. Don't worry about it. You still love seeing us every week. Honestly, I have been thinking we could make this a slight discussion on the podcast. I have been kind of thinking, should we change when we post our episodes weekly? So in my head, I was like, well, in an ideal situation, if we record like every Sunday or something, we post Wednesday, so there's not a super large gap in between when we record and when we post, in case something pop culture or something in the topic that we talk about changes, instead of like recording on a Saturday or Sunday and posting it that next like Friday or Saturday. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think eventually if we get this down and we maybe eventually do like 2 episodes a week, like, yeah, we could post one on like Friday or Saturday, but yeah, keep the Wednesday one, or try to.
Yeah. I don't know. I would have to see. I guess every week is different. So
exactly. So Mike Tyson and Jake Paul's coming up.
My money's on Mike Tyson. 100%.
You want to know what's interesting about it? It's so big that Joe Rogan was talking about it on his podcast.
Oh, I bet. I wouldn't doubt it. Hasn't Mike Tyson been on Joe Rogan?
Oh, yeah, multiple times. I love Mike Tyson. He's fucking awesome.
Oh, he's amazing.
I was actually talking to somebody about it at work the other day, which I was kind of surprised that he knew about it. It's just interesting because I'm not saying I've never necessarily said that Jake is a bad boxer. Like, he's not. He is good. Do I like him as a person? I've grown to like him more. Same with Logan. Honestly, I feel like recently Logan's kind of gone downhill in my eyes.
I haven't kept up.
Jake's gone a little better. Well, just because like the stuff with George and all that kind of.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I did not. I mean,
but
Jake kind of pushed that too, though.
Like, if you're interested to kind of see like how Jake has changed a lot, like have him on. Listen to the episode that George had Jake on. Because it was like the first time that they've just sat down and had a discussion in a while because of the drama and everything. And like, Jake's changed a lot than what he used to be. Like, he's still egotistical when it comes to boxing in particular, but most boxers are. Like, that's not uncommon. And listening to, I can't remember who Rogan was talking to about it, but he's like, I think the main reason people dislike Jake Paul in the scene is because he came up as a YouTube guy. And I think it is for some people. As for me, I think it's just he's so egotistical, and then knowing who he's bringing up. I'm not like saying he's a bad fighter, but I'm like, he fought Ben Askren, which was a wrestler. He fought Nate Robertson, which is a NBA player. Like, not saying these men aren't athletes and they're all this stuff. It's just I don't think he's fought somebody besides maybe Tyson Fury for the first time, which was a loss, his first loss. That actually was more of like full on boxing. I mean, he did fight Deontay Silver, or no, who did he fight? I'm blanking.
Oh,
Deontay Wilder. What's his name?
Something like that.
But he fought another boxer, but also he is 20 years older than Jake, and he beat that. And it's like, when you throw out the age thing, like, age can make a big difference in fighting. Like, obviously, it's a lot different now than it would have been 40 years ago. Like, if you would have had Mike Tyson fighting a 40-year-old boxer then, it wouldn't have been a fight. It would have been a one-round done. Like, it would have been over. Now, you got growth hormone, you got testosterone, you got, like, all this extra stuff when it comes to, like, science and biology, where, like, 100% Mike Tyson's all that stuff. That's why he's his age, and he's probably in such good shape. Like, there's a reason.
He's insane, dude. Like... Yeah, like you said, Jake Paul's not a bad boxer at all. No. He's actually pretty good.
He's really good.
But
he has one-punch power.
I just feel like, he has picked his, like, opponents very carefully, shall I say.
He has. And it's not a bad thing. It really isn't. It's just, like, I don't know. It's just kind of weird because it's like I rather wish he was trying to take on, like, more professional boxers in the main thing. I know he's trying to kind of in a way stay in his own lane, stay in his niche in a little bit, because like boxing is so funky, like how they do it, and like all the different leagues and everything, where like even UFC, it's like that's it. There's no other MMA leagues that are out there that are also doing stuff, just like WWE back in the day. There used to be so many different wrestling places based on just region, and that like it was hard to cross over until basically Vince McMahon's dad started buying up other regions and just combining it all into the WWE, where it's just like that's it. where like back in the day it was so convoluted and complicated because there's so many different leagues. Like you can have, I think there's like 3 or 4 different world champion boxers depending on weight, just because there's so many different divisions and then so many different promotional boxing companies that handle it all. So it just makes it a little more complicated with that. But I don't know. I'm rooting for Tyson just because it'll be like a. It's not like I don't like Logan. I don't like Jake, and not that I don't want him to win, but against Mike Tyson, like you can't not want Mike Tyson to win. Like you really can't. Like he's a household name. He is a champion amongst many people's hearts, probably one of the best boxers in the world. And then also you're also kind of rooting for him because you're like, in a way, he is the underdog just based on age. Like that age gap is major.
I've seen some videos though. His power, oh my gosh,
he still has it.
He does.
He still has it. It's deadly.
No, that's the thing. I feel like Jake is going to play kind of like KSI did.
I think he has to play more strategically in this one because he knows. The only thing is, the one thing Joe brought up in the podcast was he still has the power. I'm not 100% on Tyson's footwork and speed.
That's what I was about to get to. Like KSI played against Tyson Fury.
Yeah.
I feel like
or not
that's
Tyson. Tommy.
Tommy
we
Fury.
said Tom.
Yeah, my fault.
Yeah, no, they would both lose.
Yeah, yeah, oopsies. But I feel like Jake's just gonna like at least use his movement.
He's probably gonna try making the fight last because he knows if he gets too close, that's where it's gonna get dangerous.
He's fucked.
Yeah, so he's gonna definitely have to use mobility as a strength against Tyson.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see. I'm curious because someone said, I think when they were talking about it on Rogan, that the fight's confirmed, but I guess the fight's not technically yet approved by this, like the fighting
committee.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah. So it's not like they're both down for it. There's still a date, but I guess some stuff on the back end is still getting worked out, supposedly. But also it's like the reason Tyson's probably doing it is he probably wants to. I mean, it's going to be a big paycheck for both of them.
Oh, 100%. I mean, he doesn't even need the money. I feel like he just got like, really, you gonna call me out? Okay, fuck it, let's do it.
Yeah, and that's what's so weird, which I find so interesting, is because like I've listened to Jake on a few podcasts and how his mentality has changed over the past like 10 years, obviously, from when he was like blowing up on YouTube. He was a crazy kid doing all the crazy stunts. Just kind of outgoing. Nobody really liked him. And like now he's a lot more reserved. Like if you just listen to him on a conversation, like he's a lot more about like self-development, health, and spirituality, and understanding yourself, and which kind of is what Tyson also turned into. Like you listen to him on Rogan, and it's like the dude's read like a bunch of philosophy books and books on war and history. Like he's actually like really smart, which is also impressive for an old boxer too, because it's like typically once they get older, because of fighting, you kind of lose that mental ability. Like I mean, think of Muhammad Ali. Like by the time he passed, like he wasn't there. Like he was gone. Like he had so much brain damage. It was sad.
That's just so sad to me.
It is, and I think that's one thing. Like that was why Joe got out of fighting. Like he was really good.
Yeah.
Like, and there was one time I think he got hit real bad, and he's like, he's like back in the day too when we were training. He's like, when we were sparring, we would go all out. Like it wasn't just like let's practice. It was we're fighting, and like even in karate when we sparred, it was like we're not like trying to hurt each other. It's just kind of working on movements and techniques. And like back in the day, that's not how MMA gyms. That's not how boxing gyms were. It's like, so you weren't just getting hit in major fights. You were getting messed up even in practices. And Rogan even said, he's like, at one point when I was dealing with migraines for like hours afterwards and just my head pounding, it's like I knew this wasn't good. That's why he got out of it. Was he was like, it's not worth me risking my mental capacity over fighting, even though we probably still could fight. So it'll just be interesting to see what happens, because I think
what's the date that they posted?
I think it's next month, or it's a couple months away maybe. I
know it's getting
closer.
I just haven't seen it.
Yeah. So that one will be really interesting to see. But yeah, it's just so weird because I feel like honestly, like I feel like Mike and Jake would honestly get along. Just like listening to both of them talk, I feel like they would actually like each other. That's also really weird. Why it's kind of weird to see them wanting to fight.
Yeah. Huh.
And I feel like part of it is because Jake's doing it because I mean, he's fighting Mike Tyson. That's gonna get a lot of attention.
Oh, 100%.
And so like, there's a reason he's doing it, but it still, to me, seems like a strange decision.
It was, but it's just because of his age.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I could go honestly both ways. I feel like so.
I think it actually will be reasonably close. Like it's not gonna be.
I feel like it'll be way closer than people like think.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, you hear Mike Tyson like, oh, he's winning no matter what, but.
And that's his mindset. And he's talked to people when he was like, when I would go into the ring, like nothing. Like he's like,
life or death.
Yes.
Literally.
And he's like, I didn't like the person I became when I was in the ring. Like it was pretty tight. And he even said, he's like, you see Mike Tyson in the ring. He's not.
I've heard like
he turns into an animal.
Yeah, I've heard his opponents just speak out, and they're like literally had no soul.
No,
like literally.
No. When he's in there, he's staring you down. Like he's.
And just
there's
that,
nothing else.
Just that alone.
That mindset
that's just
going
fucking
into a
scary,
fight,
dude.
Especially Mike Tyson at the time. It's like you see him in a ring, and he's just staring you down. Nothing there. You could tell he's ready to.
I would literally put my hands up. Okay, you win. Fuck it. Nope, I'm done.
I'd be like, I don't know if this is worth it. Like it'll be interesting.
By the way, it's been a little while, but what about the fight against Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg?
I don't think that's happening.
Because I remember that was popping up.
Yeah, for a while.
It just now hit me in the head because I never heard anything else.
He talked about it when he was on Rogan last. He's like, yeah, we were trying to set it up, and people wanted to sponsor it, obviously, because it would be so big, because it'd be so wild, like 2 billionaires going at it. And he's like, I would love to do it in the Roman Coliseum. Like, this was Elon. But he's like, at the same time, I don't want to if we would do something like that, he's like, I would not feel comfortable, like, throwing company banners and logos all across the Coliseum and do stuff. He's like, he's like, that'd be really cool because of where it is and then who's fighting. But he's like,
and all those people
for something
too.
so historical, he's like, I wouldn't want to ruin the integrity of that place as well. So, and I was like, well, that's cool that he's saying something like that. And he realizes
he's sincere for it.
I thought you were going to bring up something else, but I was going to bring up, we never talked about the Ngannou Tyson Fury fight.
Wait.
Francis Ngannou, the heavyweight champion of the UFC.
Oh, yes. We never did talk about that.
I didn't watch it. I saw some stuff afterwards and heard people talk about it. Tyson won, but some people think that it was a little skimpy.
Rigged?
Yeah, maybe just a bit. Some people think that they wouldn't, even if Ngannou won, they weren't going to allow him to win because it would look bad on the boxing world. And losing basically the best fighter at the moment in the world when it comes to heavyweight boxing, Tyson Fury, losing to Ngannou would be like almost shameful.
I see. I haven't even seen videos of it yet.
Apparently Ngannou did pretty well. Like he knocked him down a few times. Like it was like
I honestly thought he would win.
Like he literally has at least the UFC, I think he has the highest recording punching power of anyone. It's literally the same force as being hit by like your old car, like the size of your car, like that.
Jeez.
Yeah, like that's, and that's also one reason why they brought him on to the last Jackass film, was because he punched one of the guys in the nuts, and they brought him out, and it's just like, and he's 6'3", 240 pounds plus.
He's just a
shredded.
beast.
Like he's ripped, and he's
an animal.
55 pounds.
He's an animal.
Like, and then like one time I had to go back because this was an old Rogan podcast, but I had to go back to when he first came on, and he told his story about how he got into Europe and where he was from, and how he was working in sand mines when he was like 9 years old. And doing stuff, and then like his journey to get to Europe, and trying to, getting in illegally, and like when he got up to Morocco and how he got caught like 4 times and they would just throw you out in the desert, just leave you, and how he had to get back to the city and found his way over and then started getting into boxing, I think in France, and and then eventually got picked up by the UFC and was like, hey, get over here, and then
I wonder how that all works since he had no like birth certificates or anything.
I don't think they care. It's fighting. You know, like it's not a regular job. He ain't going for president. They're like, you're a hell of a fighter. Like, let's get you over here.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And it's crazy because he is such a beast. Like, he really is. I don't know when he's last fought. I know it might be today that I think is Conor McGregor's first fight back. I think it might be tonight. It's coming
really?
up. Yeah. And
that'll be interesting because he's insane.
He is, and he's been gone for 3 years.
Yeah.
Basically because of his shattered leg. That was...
Oh, dude.
That was so spooky. Seeing that.
That hurt me.
Oh, dude, watching that? Like, I didn't watch it live, but I remember when it was happening because it was a big fight. And it was like moments after it was on YouTube.
Literally, Instagram, every freaking thing. And it was different angles every time, dude. Oh, it sucked. Oh, gosh.
It's crazy. It was wild.
Dang.
Here, pause. Okay. But no, when he was fighting, it was crazy. And then a story on top of it and everything, like, but apparently, yeah, like it was closer than I think Tyson expected even. And that's the thing is people were like, if this was MMA, no contest.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
And
it's light and day in that boxing to MMA.
Yeah,
light and day.
It is. It would be interesting almost to see Logan do MMA because, he did wrestle and he was a champion wrestler, like state champion wrestler.
Now he's
back in the day, WWE.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, that would be interesting, I guess.
Which honestly, he's done so good in. Like
WWE.
He came out. Like his first debut fight was really crazy. And he came out not holding
didn't he
back.
like jump over a table and all that shit?
Oh yeah, like he does the crazy shit.
I
know
he
off
did,
the ropes and flying.
Like, I know it's
feet.
staged, but
it is, but it's still impressive and dangerous. Yeah. Like, well, that was what was crazy. Was it the fight that KSI showed up at? Was when he blew his knee out? I think it might have been. He tore, I think, his... What was it? It was his MCL and something else. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, he knew something was wrong in the fight, but he just kept going. Yeah. And he kept dealing with it in the match. And it wasn't until afterwards, and they're like, yeah, you blew 2 tendons out.
That would suck.
But he's back. He's recovered.
Yeah.
He's doing it.
Hey, he's having a kid on the way, too.
True. They're expecting. That's kind of wild.
Is it a boy?
I don't know if they know yet.
Okay.
But that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
It's
wild.
It is. But no, I honestly, I do like MMA. It is cool. I just don't watch it enough. And it kind of, I think one of the reasons is I'm like, I like it, but for every fight to be pay-per-view, I guess it just depends on the price of like, is it worth it?
Yeah.
But it is fun to watch. Like boxing and MMA is fun to watch. It is.
Once in a while, some groups of my friends, we would just go to somebody's house and we would watch MMA.
Honestly, we should do that every once in a while.
Yeah, it is fun. Those fights are fun to watch.
Oh yeah, and even the like undercard fights are always still really good, especially with MMA because it can go anywhere and it's so.
It's just so much
wild.
action. It is literally nothing but action.
It's insane. Like MMA is just a whole ball game different than regular boxing, and boxing.
Oh, 100%.
Boxing is fun to watch on its own, and so complicated in how you actually fight and everything. And MMA is like times 10 on all of it because it's like so much different things can happen, so many different combinations, moves, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, like just all the different techniques that get involved. You're like, who knows what can happen?
Yeah,
like it doesn't matter. It's almost any fight, even if you think it's one-sided, especially with MMA. It's like you honestly don't know. Like it's so up in the air on what the final results will become, and I think that's what makes it so interesting and intriguing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because it's boxing. I mean, it definitely depends on the fight. If you throw like 2 champion boxers in there, you're like, oh yeah, it can go either way. But there's definitely some fights where like it really should be in this guy's favor, and if it's not, he messed up.
Exactly.
Where, I mean, that happens, and
I mean, yes, I get it. Every judge is a human being, so
yeah,
it is what it is.
And it's just fighting's fun. It's fun to watch.
Oh, it is really fun to watch. Like, just some of these fights, like, literally people get brutally not murdered. Whoa. Brutally, basically brutally murdered, but.
Well, and then you also hear about, like, the stuff that they got to do for weigh-ins and just everything they got to do, and then you realize that, and it's, like, the day before, like, it's crazy when like some of these guys are probably walking around normally like at 210, and then they get down to like 180 for fights, and within like on the brink of death practically because they're so dehydrated and trying to get that lowest weight they possibly can, and then the next day they're full with water, and then they weigh like another 15-20 pounds more than they did.
Yeah.
And everything before they fight.
Whoa, you got fat.
It's insane. And even Rogan's talked about it. He's like, I honestly kind of hate how the UFC does it, but he's like, I'm not the one that gets to make these decisions.
I didn't like it either.
Because he's like, I would much rather see someone that's like fully, I guess like fully peak potential practically fight. It's like, I understand the weigh-in aspect. Like, it's a way for someone that's probably not normally in a weight bracket to be like, let me get down here because hopefully it secures me some wins, you know? Mm-hmm. So like if I can try get into a lower weight bracket, it can make
like those people, dropping like 20 pounds just to get in that lower bracket. That's what I just like.
It's sketchy because then at the same time, if you're not hydrated properly, it can result in your body possibly more easily getting like knocked out and stuff because like you're just not hydrated.
You can black out.
Yeah. And so it makes it very, very interesting. Oh, yeah. Speaking of McGregor, I do want to watch Roadhouse. The old one I've kind of seen. It's a little more cheesy, but I am curious about this one. I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal got ripped for it, put on a lot of weight, and then obviously McGregor's in it, and he's the antagonist. He's the villain. And then not only that, but there's a cameo by Post Malone in it. I don't know if you knew that.
No, I didn't know.
Yeah, and this is like when I think he was starting to lose weight, but he wasn't like where he is now. And basically in it, and I've seen the clip, he's like, it's like an underground fight, and he's like in it.
I've seen that actually. Yeah,
like,
I did see that.
That's cool. I was like,
some people actually was giving him so much crap for that.
I'm like, why? Like,
what do you mean? Did you know that?
No.
But yeah, like
I'm like, he's not a fighter. It'd just be fun to do. Like,
yeah,
I would have done it. Like, if I was supposed to vote, I'd be like, hell yeah, like, let's do this.
Like they were critiquing how he was like hitting and stuff. I was like, what the fuck?
I was like, he's not a fighter. Plus, in this, he's just supposed to be an underground fighter, so it's not even like he's top of the line.
I remember saying that scene. Yeah.
But it was like that's when I first saw that. I was like, I had no idea who was in that. That's awesome. Like, that's crazy.
He looks honestly so different.
He does.
Just like tattoos and all that on his face.
Especially
like when he's not on stage, just like off stage. Imagine him walking down on the street with just a hoodie and a hat on. You would not recognize him. You wouldn't. He would look like, no offense, but a homeless guy.
Yeah.
No offense, but he would.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect it to be him if you just saw him randomly. You'd be like, wait a second, that's Post Malone.
Yeah.
Nah, he's awesome. Like he's one of those guys where
I love his music.
It's crazy. Yeah, me too. I can't wait for that new album to come out.
It's coming, dude.
I know he's gonna be doing a country album, and like there's already leaks that he has a song with like Luke Combs and Morgan Wallen and probably Zach Bryan. I mean.
He already had one, I think.
Did he? I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Like,
did he? Wait a minute. No, that was Noah Khan and Post Malone. That's right.
That song's really good.
That one's so
I love
good.
that song. That's a really good song.
Yeah.
The one time me and Bailey were coming back from Florida at one point, I think we were listening to the Noah Khan, was it Lindsey Wilson song, where it's like the song "Stay in the Truck." And it's about like him just coming across a woman that was obviously just beaten by her boyfriend. And he's like, show me where. And he's like, just stay in the truck. Don't come out.
Yeah.
And he kicks in the guy's door and basically like they don't say it, but it's like he kicked in the guy's door and killed the dude, and then he goes to prison. And it's like, what the hell? Like, I mean, honestly, I love the song, but it's also
to the
like,
lyrics of any song, like
some songs with stories, and you're just like, wait a second, like
that's not adding up.
Yeah, it's crazy. Or like, have you ever paid attention to the lyrics of Californication by Red Hot Chili Peppers?
No,
I've seen people.
It's been a minute since I've heard that.
People are like, "Oh my gosh, like this song has some like deep lyrics that you don't totally realize," and it's talking about like shit that's kind of happened recently, and they're like stuff with politics and war and China. Like you don't really notice it, but if you listen to the lyrics, you're like, look at them, you're like, wait a second, like there's some interesting stuff in here that I don't think I ever realized.
Wow. Yeah,
it's crazy. I do love music though. It's so much fun.
So much fun.
It's fun. I don't know. There's just something. It speaks to like the human creativity and character that like when you realize there's no other creature on earth that does anything like that, but it's something that doesn't necessarily have like an intrinsic value to society when it comes to like it's a skill that's very important to human culture, but you realize that it doesn't have anything like major when it comes to stuff like you're not an architect, you're not a carpenter, you're not building things, but there's something about that where it's like it's so integral to like the human existence. It's really crazy. And then like I don't think I could make music. Like I don't think my brain would work for it properly, but it's like listening to it and there's just there's something about it.
I just don't have like I don't know, a creative mindset. I feel like I do and I don't.
Not like that. Like there's people that
like I've seen videos that people literally just come off a song off the spot. Like Juice WRLD, for instance, he did that all the time. Most of his top hits are just off his bat, off the bat of his head.
Literally would just go in and freestyle.
Yeah,
and then he would have a hit, and then he would do another one. It's easily
another hit,
and you're like, because I think I've heard Benny Blanco talk about it, which did a lot of.
That's literally what he said.
Yeah, and he's like, I don't get it. Like he even got props.
He died way too early. Oh yeah, he was honestly, if he was still alive, he'd be top artist,
probably
top 5.
Even I feel like even XXX would have changed music because he was starting to transition and change his life around and actually like get out of all that bullshit that he was a part of, and then something so stupid happened where he got robbed and shot. It's
sad.
It's crazy.
It's sad.
It's there is definitely something about like really big musicians that there's just a way their brain works is just so different, and you're like I don't get it, but whatever you are, like,
just
you are
like
one of a kind.
Going back to Noah Khan, for instance, like I've heard so many people like his songs just do not make sense. I'm like, to an extent, yeah, but they're catchy.
Yeah, or even like Anthony Oliver Anthony, sorry.
Oliver Anthony, yeah.
Sorry, I did it backwards. Like that song is like just blew up out of nowhere, but it's like between like him or
that one actually made sense though.
Juice WRLD, yeah, or Juice WRLD, sorry, not Juice WRLD. I meant Jelly Roll. Like you just feel like the soul. Like they might not necessarily be like the best singers or the best writers, but like
they put everything into it. Yep.
You feel something in the music and the way they sing it and everything. Like it has impact. And like that's the thing is like artistry with music can be so different. Like you can have somebody that's like a crazy lyricist and like really writes this and comes up with these like elaborate stories or ways to like with rap, like making things work.
And just like making it flow good and all that.
Where, like some people would be like, huh? Like how do you come up with that? And then you have other people that make beats and it's like you can't construct this in your head, but they're over here and they're like, yeah, if you put this in, add this, and it will change the vibe and like completely change
just
the
like
melody and
Charlie Puth.
Yeah,
when he was on the TV show,
I think it was
which one was it?
Jimmy Fallon, I think.
Yeah, it was. I think, but he did it with a cup.
Yeah,
literally a cup, and made a whole song out of it.
And it's like some of that, and that's the thing is like nowadays with technology and what they use for music, it does make that kind of stuff easier, which makes old music even more impressive because when you know like someone literally had to play all this music to then record it and then make it part of the song, where like now it's like you don't necessarily have to do that at all. Makes it even more impressive. And like long run, like, or like listening to, which I don't know a lot, but like Hendrix, like was like the modern, one of the first people to like kind of bring rock into the scene, and there was no one like him at the time in the 50s and 60s. And then you listen to some of his guitar riffs and you're just like, how, like, and especially at the time you're like, this is so not what music was. And then you listen to it and you're like, this is amazing, like it's great, like it there's no explanation for it, but it's like some people just, something about it. Or like one time someone found, and I don't think I've ever talked about this on the podcast, but I've seen like where they think like rap and hip hop kind of first initiated from, and it was actually like African American churches. And like one of this first videos was like from the 40s or 50s, and it was almost like a barbershop quartet of like just 4 guys singing, and there was just like a simple rhythm, and it was actually like they were going through like biblical stories, and but they were like singing it with like almost like a hip hop rhythm, and it's like that's probably like some of the first birth of the idea of what became hip hop and rap.
Music has changed over the years, so
it's more stuff's coming.
I don't even know. Like, it's insane.
Like country is way different than it used to be, and the changes with that, and I feel like nowadays like things used to be so much in like a box per genre, where it's like now you have artists that like you listen to the song and it's like there's bits and pieces from like 3 to 4 genres here. Like there's some rock, rock to it. There's pop,
it can be the
country.
Same genre, sound totally different. That sounds totally different. It's insane.
And I think I like that because like
I do too.
Old country and stuff, like I don't have an issue with it. It's not bad, but
it just
you gets to make a whole different feel of a country song by changing
it. All
instrumentals.
Feels the same. I feel like back then.
Yeah.
Which I mean, it wasn't bad. I mean, I still like old country. 100%.
But it's like people are, I feel like, taking more risks in music nowadays, and like
that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Like they're like, you know what? Like this sounds like let's change this. Like Jelly Roll kind of was one of those people. Like Morgan Wallen was one of those people where it's like this is different country, but it's good. Like,
that's why I kind of like Zach Bryan too.
Yeah,
because he's actually more on the older side.
But it's still different.
It's still just totally different.
Yeah, like it's not the same, but it has older characteristics of country music.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Music is wild. Like if there's one thing I'd never get tired of, it's just music. Like that's one thing that I could throw on that like can completely change your mood.
One thing I could just chill out and listen to music all day.
Yeah, there's just something about it. And it could be anything. Going back to music you grew up with, to music now, to your favorite artist from 4 years ago, like there's something about it all where you're just like it's just good, especially if it's a good artist. There's definitely some people out there you're like like they probably should be in music, or they still have a lot of work to do. Like even listening to NF, like his first album wasn't bad, but compared to his newest album, completely different and way better.
Yeah, I mean he's actually changing. I mean, not changing music,
like
but his like mindset. Because I mean, I know most of his songs were more of the depressed, dark vibe, but now it's on a more light and looking in the future. Guess that's
it's
the way
more like a optimistic feel almost,
which I like it.
Yeah, I do too. And that's the thing. If you like go through, and I've listened to his stuff so much, like I've literally listened to every album, like literally in one sitting before, practically, and like you can see his transitioning in music slowly through each album. Definitely, and like how he's changed and gotten better with certain things, and even the style's a little different, or
just rapping like in general too.
Yeah, and just like how he does it, and like he's one of those people where it's like he's a good lyricist. And,
he is.
And it's just, especially somebody that's in the rap game that doesn't like curse and everything, like that also kind of gave me a different perspective of him, because it was like he's taking out what would be filler words for rap practically. Like even
he doesn't need rap words.
I mean, even in just like conversation, it's like filler words, like all those things. It's like he's taking that out of his songs practically, and then he's over here like every single lyric kind of jives together, and that you really listen to it, you're like, wow, like it just makes it more impressive, because you're like, he took more time. You can tell that there's so much
and
structure in how he was able to.
And everybody, honestly, a lot of people from the music genre just like look up to him. Like he had hop spin, and he usually cusses during his songs, and he didn't cuss once. Like,
and it was still amazing.
It was amazing. Like everybody just like changes. Tech 9 too. Yeah, that was surprising to me.
Yeah, like, and that's something we're looking forward to. Cause guess what? We're going to his concert.
I know, dude.
It's the 20th. We're going on the 11th. So 21 days.
I'm so ready.
If that.
Yeah, if that.
Yeah, that'll be. I'm excited because I haven't seen him in concert since 2021.
I've never seen him.
Oh, it's so good.
It's gonna be insane. It's gonna be insane.
It is also.
He's gonna like see. He's gonna probably do the new album, and then I feel like he's definitely gonna go back
some of his older stuff.
Oh, you know what would be amazing if he did Green Light.
He might.
Oh, I love that song.
I saw that in person too.
Oh, I bet that was amazing.
That was when he was opening for Logic. I think that was one of the songs that he played. And you're just like, yeah. It was so funny because when we were there, one of my friends basically came just to see Enough, and this was like before I was a bigger fan of him. Like at the time, I was like, I think I knew Logic the best, but like I know Enough. I know Kyle. He was an opener, and it was just like that's like a perfect lineup for me. I know all these artists. I probably will know all the songs played. Like this will be so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
And it was great. And then there's like a handful of people that I kind of saw like during NF's opener where you could tell like they're big fans. Like everybody else was like enjoying the music but didn't totally know who he was. And then you just got these other people that are like jumping up and down, just going crazy.
I would be those people, dude.
Like you're just like, hell yeah. Like I love the vibe. Like I was listening to talking to somebody and they're like, yeah, I'm not a big fan of concerts. Like I'm not really a people person. There's a lot of people, there's crowds. It gets chaotic. And I was like, yeah, but there's something about a concert that
it's just a vibe.
Yeah,
dude,
like there's just
9
times out of 10 people are just there to have a good time for the person that's there, and so you're just all there for the same reason, and you just want to have fun and you all vibe. Like honestly, I feel like for the most part, unless like dumb fights break out, which happen most of the time, like I feel like concerts are in the end like some of the most peaceful places you can be to, because everybody's just like, I'm just here to have fun. Like this is
everybody's focused on one thing.
Yeah,
you know,
and they're just like, and they know that you're here for the same reason. So it's like you already have a commonality with thousands of people that might be there. It's like you're like, yeah, we all get along. We're here for
conversational.
Like we're all here for the same thing. Let's just have fun. Most of the time, that's how it is. So I'm looking forward to it, especially this concert being my first in like over a year and a half or more. I'm like, I'm ready for it.
It's gonna be insane because it's just Enough, dude.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Does he have any openers?
I don't know. It might be something kind of like when I went and saw Post Malone. Like he didn't have an opener, but he had like a DJ. So, like when we were there waiting for Post to come out, it was basically like a DJ, and then he was just playing like big hits and stuff, and so people were just like already having a good time because it's just like hitting like classic songs from like the 2010s or 2000s.
Was it from him or just
just anything, just like any big hits pretty much, and just having a good time and setting up the light shows and going crazy.
Wow, that would be fun.
Yeah, and like that, it's just a good time. Music brings people together.
Concerts,
it really does.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
It really does. Unless, like, you and somebody else just have complete opposite music tastes.
Fair enough.
Yeah, they're just like, I don't like this. This is terrible. Or, like, I don't think I mentioned this on the podcast, but when I was in Florida, getting a hold of, basically, it was like getting a hold of an aux for a restaurant. And I'm in a town in Florida that's probably mostly populated by 50 and up. That I'm playing Eminem. And like played like Rap God and like all this stuff.
I bet you got some weird looks.
Nobody knew. I don't even think my grandparents knew. It was hilarious because they were like, "What is this? Like, how do people listen to? I don't even know what he's saying." And like, just like the normal like old person thing when it comes to music, and you're like,
He's listening to drugs. No,
he's listening to drugs.
Yep.
Well, and then the funny thing was the song that I think got the most reactions, which was so funny. Like. Because like at one point, I don't know what Eminem song was playing, but there was something playing, And I look down at the table and I see my grandma just kind of over there, like bopping her head. And I'm like, what the hell?
Which one is it?
My grandma, like on my dad's side.
Yeah, what song?
I don't know what song it was, but she's just over there kind of popping, and I literally had to like get Bailey's attention. I was like, look.
She knew it.
No, she definitely didn't know it, but she was kind of
like
into it. She was kind of into it. I was like, what?
Hey, okay.
You're like 55 years older than me, but you're vibing with it. I kind of like it.
Oh my gosh.
Well, what was so bad was the song that I feel like got the biggest reaction was not a song I meant to play for a reaction. It was a Noah Khan song. And I was like, okay, I'll go to like more country shit. Like, I feel like all of them will like that more. But I was like, let's play something a little more modern. And I just clicked on a Noah Khan song, didn't know what it was. And he had a feature, which I don't remember the name. I don't even totally remember the song. I think it was like Radio something. But let's just say the feature is a screamo artist. Had no clue. And then like it starts off with Noah Khan going, and then all of a sudden this dude's just screaming, just yelling at the mic and like doing all this, and I'm like, oh no. And that was when like even my grandparents and Bailey's friends' grandparents were like, what is this song? Like, what is happening?
What are you listening
to? What is
this
stuff? And who's playing this? Like, just
you're just like casually unplug your phone from the aux.
Well, it was Bluetooth, but
casually turn my Bluetooth off.
And I was just like, oops, like this one might actually get complaints from somebody.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, screamo's not the right vibe for anybody.
No.
And that wasn't even my intention. I was just gonna stick with rap. If I really wanted to mess with them, I definitely could have just pulled up any screamo song that I didn't know and just throw it on, just to get reactions.
Yeah,
but
true.
That was what was so funny was it was an unintentional reaction from everybody, which just made it worse.
That's hilarious.
And I'm just looking over there at Bailey and Liv, and we're just trying not to laugh. Like,
that's hilarious.
Oh, it's great. It's so fun.
Oh.
Man, music is
fun.
It's great.
Great.
Like there's nothing else behind it. Like, I mean, I liked music as a kid, but I definitely like grew into it. Whereas like, yeah, like once you kind of like find yourself in music, you're like, yes, like this is it.
Yep.
I think everybody kind of has that phase. If you just have somebody that's not really into music, it's weird. You're like, what do you mean? Like, you kidding?
Yeah.
You gotta be joking me right now, right?
Or like always just like, I don't really like this artist, but like the one of your favorites, like, what?
What are you talking about?
Dude, he's
like,
great.
Listen to it.
Like Post Malone. Imagine somebody comes up and like, yeah, he's all right.
Yeah. And I'm like, I get it. It might not be your taste, but you can't say he's not good. Like, and that's even me with some.
His voice is just so unique, dude.
Yeah. And that's even me with some music where it's like, I might not necessarily be like the biggest fan of it, but I can't deny it's good. Like, it is good. Like, even going to a concert with like my mom and uncle and stuff, and it was a smaller band. It's called Red, One, and Blue, and I've seen them twice. And like their music is good. I'm not denying it, but being someone that's not necessarily a fan, like a big fan, or knowing their music by heart and going there and it being so different than what I normally listen to, it's like I can get behind it, but I'm definitely not enjoying it as much as other people that are here. But it's still fun.
Yeah.
And like that one, it was like we were down in Indy, and it was just like one where it was almost like a community event where they just like set up this stage in this parking lot, and they got vendors and did all this. It was cool. Like I was like, I've never been to a concert quite like this, and I was like, I like it. And like we were pretty close to the stage, like right there, and I think there might have been 500-600 people there. Like it wasn't crazy, but it was a lot of fun. Noah loved it. Like,
I bet he did. Yeah,
he enjoyed that one a lot. But yeah, no.
Noah
has weird music taste too. I feel like me.
He's gotten better.
Has he?
I was up when I was in Oregon the last time. I was just driving with him. He played an artist like, oh shit, you actually know this?
Who? Do you know?
It was Boy with Uke. I was like, I'd not honestly think you would be the person to like Boy with Uke. So I was kind of confused with that. But then he actually got into what was it? I'm spacing his name.
Well, he told me he was going to see Louis Capaldi. And I was like, huh? I've never even think I've heard you listen to Louis Capaldi.
Ed Sheeran, that's what it was.
Really?
I was like, Noah, what?
Like, I don't listen to Ed Sheeran necessarily.
I like his songs.
But like, he's a great artist. And even like Louis Capaldi, I was like, you're going to see Louis Capaldi? Like,
wait, he did that?
I think so. And I was like, I bellowed Louis Capaldi songs. And I think one of the reasons why he went was, one, I didn't know he kind of liked his stuff, but I think it was like Louis Capaldi's last tour because his Tourette's were getting so bad. And so that's kind of crazy because like I didn't know that he had that until later. And then it's like, it makes it even more impressive, but then it's also, even though it's like not a bad disease, but to see it for a musician makes it even rougher, and it's like, sad because it's like they can't do what they love. I've seen
him on stage and he like couldn't even finish it because his Tourette's was so bad, and that just makes me so sad.
Yeah,
I wonder how he's doing.
I know,
because you don't really see much of him anymore.
That's the thing is, I'm like, did he deal with this whole time? Was it something that kind of came up and it's gotten worse?
I think it got worse over time, but I think he had it when he was younger.
Yeah, or do you remember the song that was played all the time in like 2017? 7 years. That song, like, there's something about that song where it tells a story and it's so sad and it's heartfelt that it's talking about growing up, and it's like there's just it's so good. It honestly kind of reminds me of like some of 21 Pilots' old songs, like that kind of feel, like that melody almost and vibe. There's
like Stressed Out.
Yeah,
that's such a good song too, dude.
Yeah, that 2010s had some pretty
oh, they did, hits. And I was only 6 years old. Yeah, I guess that's right. Yeah, but they did, because I go back 2010s all the time, dude.
I'll go back to 2000s, and I'm like, that's the thing is like,
I don't honestly know too many, unless it's the like top hits of that. I don't really know.
Like even going back to like 90s or early 2000s hip hop, and like it's just a whole different feel. And it's not that I don't like it; it's just so different than what I've listened to the majority of.
Like stuff. We said, music has changed like so
it's like every
weird.
decade is so different.
It is, because I don't even know how to explain it.
Well, it's funny even listening to Rogan and his age, like he's my dad's age, so he's like coming up in like the 60s and 70s, and things are getting so different. Music changed so much so quickly compared to like what would have been being made in like the 30s and 40s. Completely different. Not even close. And then he's like, honestly, I think it is kind of crazy because you even see it in cars that at that time a lot of people were doing a lot more psychedelics because it wasn't technically illegal yet until the 1970s. And then they passed the law making them Schedule 1 drugs. And you even see it in the design of cars. They got really boring. Like if you look back at like 50 car designs and like prototypes of things people were working on, what they were doing, you're like it was literally like even old designs on fridge. Like there was one time there was like a thing I saw on Instagram, and I'm like, this is a fridge in 1950. I was like, I want that fridge now. Like it was so cool. And I was like,
and there's so much storage.
Yeah, and you're like, what is this?
And there was
like a transformer.
I saw another one. It was like maybe from the 1950s, or it was a car.
Yeah, like some of the designs.
It was a parallel parking, but the back wheel comes down.
Yeah.
And you could just turn in. I was like, what the heck?
Like just the designs of the curves and the collars and the brightness, like those were the cars in the 60s. And then it was like you get to 1980s, like music completely changes. It wasn't necessarily bad, but like it just the whole feel of it completely changed from like the 1970s to 80s. And then like car designs changed. Like cars in the 80s were honestly terrible. Like the designs weren't great. Like from like the even like muscle cars from the 60s, 70s, great. And then like you get into the late 70s and 80s, boring, like not as cool. The designs suck. Like the colors are very like mute.
Yeah, and then it's weird. Then
it slowly like, came back.
Yeah, like the 90s.
Yeah,
those are pretty cool.
And even like watching, like thinking about like the old Mustangs, even like the Mustang design now, way better than what I feel like the early 2000s. Like it's not like I didn't like the Mustangs, but I was like, it just seems so, I don't know, like it's kind of boring.
I disagree.
Really?
I like older.
Well, I like older, but it's like if I was going old, I'd rather go like old when it comes to muscle cars.
So I want to go in the 80s, like we said.
No.
But either 70s or 90s.
For me, like if I was going muscle cars, it's like 60s and 70s or modern. Yeah. It's one or the other. Like 2000s, it wasn't bad. And even like the 2010s designs for me were better than the 2000s, but I was like, I don't feel like there's as much character. And then you look at like the Mustangs now, and the ripples in the hood, and like all the
they
all
look
the extra different
amazing.
designs. Like
I just love old sports cars, way more honestly.
Yeah.
It's just weird. I don't know why. It's just me.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that like. In a way, if you look at the old muscle cars, they didn't have like a super intricate design, but at the same time, there's something about them. Like there's just the overall look.
And it just looks like, so clean.
Yeah, exactly. And then also you throw in a fucking big ass V8 engine and this noise and the power, and you're like at the time you're like, oh, like
I want it. Yeah. Give me it right now.
That's what's so crazy is my uncle has old. I don't even know if it's still in there, but it's been sitting in this barn for years, decades. And he has an old like 1971 Mach 1, and it's like,
he doesn't use it at all.
Like no engine. Like he was planning on rebuilding it, and then it just sat.
I was gonna say, let's go get it right now.
I've thought about it. I was like, if that would be a car that like I could rebuild, like you would have to probably put 30 grand into it. But it's like, man, if you completely overhauled that thing,
so it needs a new engine and everything.
Probably new interior, new paint job, probably at this point. But it's like. You got that looking immaculate.
It's literally just a frame.
Pretty much. Well, like that's the thing is one of my grandparents' friends would completely restore old cars.
Oh, really?
So like he would drive around with like a 70s Chevelle, like stuff. Like you're just like not blue and the white stripe and like completely nice white leather interior, and you're just like,
that is clean.
Like, I don't know. It's like looking at a car like that. It's like melted butter. Like that's what I turn into. You're like,
I think maybe it's just a guy thing because I think a lot of guys do. We see a nice car on the road, we're like, ooh.
Yeah, there's something about it. We're just like, damn. I don't know if it's like at one point if it's the look, if it's the power of the engine, like the sound. I think it's all of it. I think you just like throw it all together and you're like,
see, honestly, I'm fine with loud noises, but I'm not the biggest fan of like loud cars.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Like, I mean, it's fine for me. I'm just not the biggest fan. Now, like older cars and it's loud. I'm just saying if somebody modifies their truck, it should be like fucking insanely loud for no reason. Like
the ones where they like make the exhaust pops and like those and purposely do that. Like that one, I'm like, eh. But like where it's just something in general where it's like. It's more the rumble noise, like it's the low growl and the you're like yes, like I like it. Like even my dad has a V8 in his truck, and he changed the exhaust to make it sound better. Yeah, and that's why like you can hear my dad's truck from like a mile away, and it's such a recognizable noise for like me and my sister at times because you're like,
oh, dad's coming.
That was the thing where I got to drive it when I was 16. I was like, I gotta put the pedal to the metal a little bit just to get that noise. Like
that's why I love the retro dually. It actually has no exhaust.
Or deleted truck or something, and then you let off, and it just and you're like, I don't know. There's something about
just like a little whistle sound.
Yes,
and it's just so satisfying.
Yeah, I don't know why. I love it. You're just like even when you're not supposed to go really fast, it's just like slight acceleration, let off, and then just and you're like, yeah, I don't know what it is, but I like it.
Oh.
I don't know. Maybe it's just noises. Do guys like noises? Because music.
I don't know. I've heard guys make weird noises.
That's true too.
Maybe we're just weird.
We are weird. We are weird. Oh man, I want a muscle car.
I want one. I've wanted one for a while.
Oh yeah, I tried convincing my grandparents one time to get a Mustang.
That'd be nice. That would be cool. My dad tried getting me to buy a Camaro.
Oh really?
So I was looking. It was in Elwood.
Yeah.
So that dealership, and we was looking at another car, actually, not the car I have now, but there was a nice Camaro. It was 2010 maybe, V6 though.
That's the thing.
But
if I
it was literally.
I don't think I could get a V6.
It was only $2 more grand than my car right now, and my dad's like literally pushing me. He's like, "Get it." You know, if I was your age, I would get it right now. And then as soon as he heard it was only a V6, it's like, oh, screw that. Never mind. Nope. No. I was like, yeah, fair enough.
Me and my dad's talked about the same thing. It's like, if I was going to get a car like that, there's no way I would get at least a V8. Like, V8. Yeah, there's no way 100%. Not to. Like, EcoBoost Mustang? Why? like when you see people that drive around in a Mustang and they're like, yeah, I got a Mustang. And then you're like, it's an EcoBoost V6. And you're like, it's not the same, buddy. Like, I'm sorry. You got the car. You don't got the engine. Like it's not the same vehicle.
It looks good though.
It looks good, but it is not the same vehicle. But the only reason you see some people like driving the very, very basic models is so they can get a Mustang, but it's cheaper, it's more affordable, less gas. And you're like, you're missing the point.
I mean, it's fair enough.
Yeah, it's fair. You got the car, but it's like you're missing the point.
I see. I want not the same. Now, if they got that just like out of nowhere, but I wouldn't buy it. You know.
Yeah. Or like the old Mustang Cobras or something like.
Oh, I love those.
Or even like when they came out with the new Mustang Cobra, and it was like what was it, the GT500 that came out a few years ago, and I saw that like someone do a first walk around and view it, and I'm like, oh, it was like a good combination of modern technology and old school muscle. And
oh,
like,
really?
Yeah, because it had I think it had like 600 horsepower plus, or maybe it was even crazier. And then the noise and the rumble, but then at the same time, like you could go into settings, and if you wanted to in the mornings, it's like, oh, you could put on like a muted mumble, or like you could literally change the sound of the car slightly. It's like if you're driving through a neighborhood early in the morning, it's not super loud. And then
fuck that.
Get on the highway and just run through. It's like, that's awesome.
That is crazy. Awesome. Wow.
Or even like that's the thing is like even new electric cars are adding like noises, so you kind of get a haptic feel of it, and it's like it's nice, but it's not the same. Like, have you ever seen the noise of the new electric Hellcats?
No, I haven't heard the noise.
It's kind of funky. It's almost like a Jetsons vibe. Like it's yeah, it's like it's kind of cool, but then at the same time you're like, it's still not the same as like
what does it like sound like?
Of it's so hard to explain. I wish I could pull it up right now, but it's just not the same as like the rumble of a muscle car. But you're like, it's still cool. It's still really cool. I mean, yeah, it's different. Like you can't compare it. It's apples and oranges.
I love Hellcats, dude. I would not get an electric one though. No.
I feel like the only electric, like if I got an electric sports car, it would be like maybe like the Porsche Taycan. Like that one's actually still. Really
I love
cool.
Porsches, dude.
And the look is cool. And they're fast.
Porsche 911. I love that. I love it, dude. Oh.
It's crazy. Sounds like we need to get into cars and UFC.
I'm into cars. I just don't have them.
Yeah, me too. I think every guy does have a slight thing for cars.
Oh yeah.
Or trucks.
I'm both. More on cars though.
Yeah, for me, like I like trucks, but to own a truck for me, it would also have to be utility. Like a muscle car, it's like you don't have a lot of utility, but it's like if I needed a truck to possibly move stuff more often or do whatever, it'd make more sense. For me, it's like for what I got, I could probably still be fine if I had a muscle car. It'd still be limited, but like I could still deal with it, you know?
You have friends that have trucks. Perfect.
Exactly. But no, there's something about old muscle cars.
I know, dude.
There's just nothing. Especially you see one and someone's completely restored it and it's just pristine. And just, like, something.
I hate when I like go by and I see old Mustangs just like in the front yard or rusted.
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
You're ruining it.
Oh, it's already ruined.
Yeah.
You already have to put like $50,000 just to restore it, dude.
It's crazy. All the hidden gems.
I know.
Like old barns and stuff like that. You have no idea.
Yeah, I wish that happened to me. Just imagine.
What? Just
like
find one?
I don't know. Family member dies and go in the bar and like, oh, he had a Mustang? Heck yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
I don't hope he dies, but you know.
Yeah, like if something like that happened and I got a muscle car, that'd be kind of cool.
I've always like thought about like just getting a few buddies, buying a car, but just putting some money in and actually just learning how to restore a car. Because I feel like that would be cool.
And in some aspects, doing the older cars are easier too. And you don't got to deal with as much.
See, I mean,
they're more self-explanatory.
I know a little bit about cars, but you always can learn more.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think that's the thing where it's like nowadays, it's like it's a lot harder if you have a new vehicle for somebody just to work on it. Like you almost have to go to the dealership because to be able to even figure out what exactly is wrong with it. It just isn't the same. It's like, oh, if you hook it up, it'll tell you exactly what's wrong. And they're like, oh, it's this thing. We'll be able to get to it. And it's just, with all the computer systems, like it's nice. It makes it easier, it makes it more efficient, but it makes it more complicated where like you can't necessarily just do all the work on your vehicles anymore.
What I do love is driving shift.
Yeah.
It's stick shift.
Stick shift.
Stick shift. Thank you.
That's what's crazy is like you go to England or Europe, like there's 2 different licenses. You got to have a manual or an automatic license. Like, because surprisingly, there's many cars over there that are manuals. And it's like over here, it's like not anymore. Like there's not like you can purposefully buy a manual, but it's not like it's not common a 50-50 split even. Like where
it's
I feel
more
like
of
it's probably like a 90-10.
Something like that. I just love driving it, dude. It's actually so fun. Have you ever drone? It's fun.
Yeah, no. There's something about it. You're more connected to the vehicle. Yeah. In a way.
And like you just hear it just shift while you do it. It's so it's so nice. Even if you don't even have like a nice car, you like shifting. It's still just fun to actually do something. And then just sit there.
Cars.
Yep.
They're great. They're great. They are. Thank you, Mr. Ford.
Oh, yeah.
He started it all.
That's true. It's
crazy.
Well, maybe he didn't. We just never have been told the truth. We never know, I guess.
Oh, man. I love that stuff. Well, hey, by the way, we definitely need to try having another guest on here soon. Like maybe
I'm down.
Maybe Josh. Or
that would be fun, yeah. I'm down. Something.
I think you'd be down. For it. Maybe try 100%. Getting him before the end of April. Maybe next weekend. Ooh.
That works. That works.
I'll reach out to him. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
But I think that might call it for us today.
Hope you guys liked our little card discussion.
Yeah, car and music combo. And boxing.
And boxing and MMA.
Yeah. And a little bit of everything.
Oh, yeah, dude.
I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys did, be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already.
Yes, sir.
And keep an eye out for more streams. I think we might do one tomorrow. Obviously, telling you guys this means nothing, but
yeah. What?
Well, we might actually try to schedule it out a little earlier. But yeah, if you guys see us ever on the live stream, pop in, talk to us. And then I think we might try setting a date here in a couple weeks and maybe do a Q&A live stream. Just us.
Yeah, I'll be down.
See if like maybe Freddie or Kelvin come over or something. I think that'd be fun.
That would be fun.
But all right, everybody, we will see you guys all next week. Hope you did enjoy. Peace out.